And our first speaker this evening is Jennifer Bartlett Phelps. This is her third time speaking at Sparks. Jennifer is the owner of Alter Ego Imaging, a photography studio specializing in boudoir and modern women's portraiture. She strives to help her clients reconnect with their sexuality and sense of self-confidence. Jennifer is also a fine artist, sexual health educator, and self-professed workaholic. She loves connecting with people and has a passion for all things beautiful. She's a lover of food and is drawn to the non-traditional and considers herself a perpetual optimist. Help me welcome to the stage, Jennifer. There you are. The clicker and the mic.
Sex. It's considered a dirty word in polite company. It shouldn't be uttered in mixed company, and definitely not in a professional setting. In fact, it's so drilled into us that we shouldn't talk about it, that we often don't, even with our significant other. And yet, sex is one of the most natural things that we do as human beings. Our sexuality is an important part of who we are, the alter ego that we try to hide from the world, but also an integral part in finding and keeping a mate. After spending nearly 20 years with the same man, I have found myself thrust back into the dating pool. It's interesting to me the things about it that have changed, and also the things that have stayed the same. When I was 18 years old, dating was this exciting adventure. It was full of new ideas and new experiences, all merged with new places and new people. Now, at the age of 38, dating is much more like a puzzle. My ideas of the world are a lot more concrete than they used to be, and my experiences are a lot more varied. In short, I'm a lot harder to impress. At 18, I would sit across the dinner table from a date and ask myself, does he like me? Now that question has become, do I actually like him? It's funny, when I was dating 20 years ago, you generally found those dates by meeting people out in the real world. Now most people meet online in one form or another. Most people approach that in a pretty realistic way. But it's interesting to me the amount of people who find freedom in the anonymity, I can't say that word, of the computer screen. Some of the women in this room can attest to this. Human beings are hardwired to enjoy sex. So it's no surprise people are having it in many dating relationships. Incidentally, the sex has some similarities I didn't quite expect as well. For most of us, 20 years ago, sexual encounters occurred when quiet moments could be stolen away from parents and friends. Nowadays, that's still the case, except we're stealing those moments from the prying eyes of children. Likewise, 20 years ago, the soundtrack for such encounters often included whispers of, "Be quiet, someone will hear you." Now they sound more like, "Shh, the kids are going to hear you." For many adults, discussing sex is still a big problem, nearly 20 years after many of us started having it. It's as if we've grown up in many ways, but not in the one way in which we really need to. Sex is important to our well-being, and for physical and emotional reasons. According to multiple studies in Britain, Sweden, and the US, frequent sex can increase longevity. So why are we so afraid to embrace our sexuality? Why do we find the subject of what we want and what we like so hard to tackle? I think the reasons for that are varied and way too many to get into in the time that we have left. But here's what I know for sure. For successful relationships, we have to tackle the subject of sex. We have to explore our own bodies, learn what's important to us, and communicate with our partners in respectful and honest ways. Sex is only one piece of the puzzle, but when we push it aside, we can't complete the picture. In the end, your sexuality matters, and so does being able to express it.